They've automated our process for years. And what's new is AI. It finally got good enough to copy our institutional knowledge, the human part that's supposed to be ours. Already, a big share of appraisals are done with no appraiser at all, and that number keeps climbing. It's not that they are going to replace us. In many instances, they already have. This software stops that flow of data. We talk about boots on the ground. We talk about how they didn't spend millions creating this new form to just replace us. When you see what I've built in 5 months over about 600 hours, day and night, I can assure you, you'll know what the power of AI and computing can do. You hear about the pending job losses. NVIDIA says the next millionaires will be electricians or plumbers. And that AI, it's not going to replace us, but coworkers using AI will replace you. This tool gives everyone all the power of AI in a secure platform that runs on your computer, not in cloud servers that capture your process. I built the tool I wish I always had, not to sign a boilerplate report in an hour, but to take my own files from 10 to 15 hours down to 4 or 5 without giving up quality, the readability, or the craft. There's no black box here. It doesn't take a single decision away from you. It hands you the evidence, you make the call, and it writes it up in your voice. It's your art, not mine, not the computer's. And here's the part that turns the table. Your work doesn't go to them. It stays with you on your computer, not on a server designed to data mine and capture your decisions. We pool what we verify, and every appraiser has access to comps, the condominium legwork, the real cost numbers locally, to libraries we own and share, so we only do the grunt work once. They built their edge by pooling data, so did we, except this one belongs to us. This is built to keep us in business, not steal our business. Give it a try. $50 a month, month to month, no drama. All right, let's do a quick run through of the software, one module at a time. We're going to start at the subject, which isn't the beginning, but also when you sign up, there you'll see the reasons why we upload. First of all, the product's available to everybody everywhere, probably even outside of the USA, but you have to be a real estate appraiser with the license certificate to get in at this point. And because I only want appraisers using it. And that's why we want to parse the MLS listing, the MLS photo listings, the CSV or Excel files you produce from your MLS, any market data reports from your MLS, maybe even just thinking about the sketch, but also then 5 redacted reports because it captures your voice and builds a voice profile. And I pay for that poll on start. But other polls in here, you grab a key on your account and run what you want. You can do, you have complete control over how you use the software and complete responsibility for editing, checking, verifying, and what you put in your report. So All the responsibility is on you. What the tool does is give you all of your options with every field editable and every feature optional. You can jump into just one module and create what you need out of it and leave, or you can go from start to finish like I do. So in this subject property, it's a fake file I just pulled from a listing. It's detached. I'm going to say it's a rental. It's probably not. But for this purpose, you can see in here, this is where you get your key to do the polls. So here's a link to it. Sign up an account, put a little money in there. It might be $2 to $10 a file, depending on what kind of polling you do. And then I use Total, and I use Total for mobile. And when I get back, I upload it, fix my sketch, and label my photos. Then I print just the sketch part out. I print just the photo pages out, and then I do a talk to text and describe the property when I'm at the property. Kind of sound like a crazy person, but whatever. So you drop those 3 files or choose and link to them from here. You put your key in, it brings up some info. You can run, it loads all your photos. Then it'll have a check mark of what photos are required and what ones you're missing. And then you can run photo intelligence. It'll check them all against your description and see if all the surfaces are right. It'll identify things and you can accept it, decline it, reject it, do whatever. You can look through those or don't. It's up to you. And then it'll break down all the things that could potentially be wrong with the property and do a repair action. I'm just going to leave them all. We go to effective age. We go in here and we mark what all the features are, the condition of each of the features. It'll give you this information. We'll use that for deferred depreciated cost. It takes your sketch. So in this section, you got part about your land, the sketch, the house. Click all the buttons that aren't filled in. You can add outbuildings or whatever. I don't know why they wouldn't be on your sketch, but click square footage, generate statement, and here's your ANSI statement for your report. You can copy it. Then we go to the description. That video file, you can, if it doesn't port, you can load it here. It breaks it down into sections: the site or the lot, the building exterior, the interior main level, interior upper, interior lower, and the summary overall. And cost to cure, you can add that to it. And just like that, and then hit generate narrative. It'll generate the narrative, and then here's your voice. So you click on that and you give it 10 seconds and 4 to 8 pennies, and it kicks out a complete download that you can then edit and make sure it's all right and put it in your report. And that little summary section in your report, this would go to addendum and then continue to export. You can export it to Word, and if you do, it's going to look like this. So we're also trying to work with Total on a actual import into their product, but I got several other options to walk down the report and put it in there. So from here, we would go to build the competing set, which is your competing properties. And then after you've got your competing properties, to the neighborhood section. So as we come back from the sales comparison approach, we came in here first and we scooped and pulled, dropped in all the assessor data, and it auto-populated this information. We went to the subject section and we loaded our grid and our description and our photos, and that fine-tuned it. We've marked that it's a rental, and then we come and we pull a larger than we're going to use radius of all the sales, and we drop that in. So after we've dropped that in, it has an automatic set on variances. I'm going 30 and 10. You can change all these, exclude new construction. You can set the radius and pull the, you can go down on the radius there. All of this affects your competing area property set. So every time you change that, you build the set and it changes it to show you how many active, pending, and solds. It's still automatically, it auto geocodes when you come in here. So also in this section, it'll automatically come up with a computer selection of the best 6 comps or the 3 model matches, whichever you choose, or both. And then it's a good starting point to look at. I don't often keep many of them, but it's something to look at. It'll tell you what your rentals are in that market, and you can select those, or you can widen the settings. So if you widen the settings, it's going to go 146 more square feet up and down. So that might pull in 50 more competing area properties that you don't want. So maybe you just include it and force it in without widening the settings, and then it'll tell down here that you force that one in and why. So here is the near misses. So you can see, hey, that one's right next door. I want to force it in, or I want to widen the settings. So you have those choices, and you can look through these and see what you almost missed out on, and that maybe what a realtor is going to throw at you on a request for a reconsideration of value. But you want to get this set down to more than 30 sold for good regression, maybe less than 50. So once you got that, then you continue to market, and that will load the data set in the market conditions. So to tag these, I just tag all 6. There they are. I like these, not the 6,500. We ain't doing that. And then that is kind of initially you come here and you drop in your county stuff and your big CSV file, and then you can take a look at how much support the perspective appraisal has. So if it comes up and says, oh, this ain't supported at all, then you want to take a look at whether you're competent to complete the assignment. So all the way to the bottom, you can go to the assignment setup or go to the market. So we're going to go here when we go have done that initial search and haven't inspected the property yet. We're going to go here, and it takes us to the next one, assignment setup. So you can make a template, or you can, which everyone does. So you put your client info, intended users, if any, intended use, what market value, if you're doing market value conclusion, the effective date. You're setting all of these things, assignment conditions and scope of work. So then you're clicking all these things, and then you go to the subject property. And when that's all filled out, you can save that as a template, or you can do it manually, and then you can go to the subject section. So now we got our competing area properties, and we're in the neighborhood section, and all of these key off of the map. So the map is here, and I can go with this one or go Google. I usually do that, and find on map, it'll put a star. You can click however big your radius is and apply it. You can draw your 4 squares. It'll also then generate your north, south, east, west boundaries, which I would check. But also in this map, it will give you a link to take a look at the single family or single housing identifiers. But in here, you can hit search, and then it'll bring up a search for all of the schools, parks, all the different things. Click on what you want to put in your report. You can drop any of those pins on the map, and then in the end, you've created a network description. Also, if you look here, this little card is, see some of them around. Um, that is a neighborhood description that I've used in the past and finalized and put to the community profile, of which anyone can pull. And I'm going to add it to my picker and then go in here, and there it is in my picker. I'm going to add it to my development screen. I'm going to strip out the old distances because I have a new subject. I usually go down a couple, and then I insert the new distances, which I don't have many, as you saw. I just did schools, but it would have a long list of all of those. You can then edit it and look at it and modify it for your subject, and then finalize to the library. So when you're in that subdivision again, you have a pretty complete neighborhood description to work off of. Gives you a head start. It's pretty beneficial. And then when I went from our intake to the setup, from the subject to the setup, we created our competing area properties. That fills this slot. This one is our 2-year competing area properties. This is the one that we're going to clean and use. 12 months of competing properties. These are the comps that we selected. And now from that setup, I have the parameters of my search, and I apply that and pull a 5-year list. And then I expand my search till I have enough rentals that I can complete a GRM and a rent analysis. So I include that in here. Also, that's a defined set for a different, we have the sales comparison, the cost, and the income. So it's a complete approach in and itself. I then copy the photo pages for those listings and the listing pages and save those for when I get to that section. But from here, I have the MLS numbers for my competing set, and then I copy those. I'll have it strips out the pair MLS photos, and then I take my competing set, my pairs, and my rentals, and I have both the listing photos or pages and the photo pages for each of those comparables or listings or sale, resales, or pairs. So that 5-year list, it does a basic strip of time, and it applies that time to different things throughout the front section of the process until we get to the actual time market time development in its own module up here. So what we're trying to do is isolate features and till we have the exact representation of that result. So in time, I'm going to level everything, all of the competing set from all of the adjustments we made to isolate the feature of market time to make sure that there's no, that it's a clean, best version of marketing time. Same applies to every feature, and the initial time strip of that and or on pairs, because a pair is a sale and a resale of the same exact property. So it is a perfect example of time if nothing was done, or quality and condition if there was, if for instance it was a flip and there was a measurable difference between a QC5 to a QC3 and what was done in a short amount of time, throwing 100 grand into the property. Well, if you take that property and consider that in the time estimate, how off is your actual marketing time estimate if you factored in or didn't strip out the flips? It is absolutely an inaccurate time assessment of marketing time. So we want to use those, and that's how I got to using sale resales. In one competing set in St. Helens, Oregon, I was curious what the sales and resales were just to do that, and there were 5 flips in there. Well, the market time tool that I use online, which purchased my adjustment tool that I use online and have mothballed it, which upset me that I have no control now over what data I put into that adjustment tool, and they make all the decisions for me. They can't answer whether they're pulling these flips where people have increased the value $200,000 in 4 months, and if that's measured in marketing time. So I pull all of that data together, and then we have, in the end, well, we can go back here and do an estimate from the map, and it'll populate that. I find it to be off and heavily weighted on the 1-unit housing, but it gives you a little example, and this can pull from the CSV, your predominant high and low. You can make these assumptions. You can click that, and from the map, from what you drew, it's going to come up with these. I would check them, and then you can auto generate a neighborhood engine for your 1004 field that's not boilerplate, more in line with your subject, property, location, and this export then we can take a look at. So enable editing, it gives you all that information, your neighborhood description, your market conditions. Probably want to use that, but that's what it produces. And now we will go to taking our data to the data cleaner. So here we are at the data clean, and this pulls our competing area properties in. It is one of many stars of the software, and that we're going to upscale our data. So in the past, our adjustment software used depreciated cost a lot, which isn't a market reaction to anything. It's the cost of something minus its age and condition. So Depreciated cost isn't a true market reaction and shouldn't be the only thing we rely on for an adjustment support. But because there's not quality and condition in our MLS, CSV, or Excel file exports, then all the software online sources have is uh, depreciated cost. So I don't even put depreciated cost in our adjustments, and I use it as a reconciliation of the adjustment support. So you can move the weight of your actual adjustment support to a little bit to hedge on and use some weight of the depreciated cost if you wish to. But anyway, this data clean pulls our competing area properties in, and then we load the listing pages and the photo pages, put our key in, and we load our pairs, listing, and photo pages, and then go make coffee because it'll take a bit. It loads all the photos, all the listings, and then it brings up all this CSV info. You can look at the pools, the views, the fixers. You can look at the auto detects for 1 year, and then you got two viewers, one for the comps and one for the pairs or the sale, resales, rentals, solar. And here's your competing set and the identifiers for these items. If you click on one, it'll just show you that item. We've already cleaned it. It came in with the location from the subject, but we cleaned. So you can click on one of these and it'll show you the waterfronts or the pools. And then here's the pair viewer screen and the comp viewer screen. You can see that they've all been run through already. So we've loaded it and then we analyzed it through an AI deep dive. So you can not do any of this. You can pass through. You can do a thin pass and just do quality and condition, or you can do a deep dive and you can do max detail, half pages, or full pages sharp. Each detail is probably a little more cost. I've spent anywhere from $1 or $2 to $10 pulling a full file. So you measure that and do that accordingly. Then when you verify it, then you might need a little more work. So the deeper the dive, the more info that gets inputted in there, the less time you spend verifying anything. And then here are all the results of that verification. As you can see on that screen, the competing the comps, you can copy the MLS numbers, and then down here you got your concessions. So you build your cards, and then you can take your comp MLS numbers and open up those and populate the buyer's agent phone number or email, because that doesn't come through where the listing agent does. So you fill that out and then set up your template, and it'll automatically send. Just click email and then send, and it'll email each of these agents when you get the responses back to your questions. Was there a seller concession? Was it arm's length? If there was a seller concession, did it raise the price of the home? If it raised the price, by how much? Fill that out. You can then save that, complete it, and then save it to a library. Next time you use this comp, it does not, it'll auto populate, and it doesn't then have any information. It'll have all the information that you used before, so you don't have to contact them again. And then here's like in the private remarks, we parsed the file and it came up with some information about it. So you can read that here as well. Right there, no seller concessions, all we need to know. So it picks all that information up if they've inputted it. If not, then you email them and find out. And then in here we have, you can run the ranking engine. You can geocode it. It comes in geocoded from the setup screen where you determine the properties. If you run the ranking engine, when you're all done cleaning it up, it'll show you your comps and the computer picks. It'll show you which ones you match on and which ones you don't. And then you can look at those and decide whether you want to add them or delete one of these. And then here's some distance or location adjustment information that you can weigh on. I'm going to expand that section because there's a lot more to a location adjustment than just a raw price to isolate that location. You know, if all the homes in that section are new, bigger, they're going to be worth more than that. So that's not a location, that's a home size and quality change, not anything else. So relative to compared to what type scenario. So we're going to I pull up 3 screens when I do this. So it's more like I have 3 monitors. So it's more like a little cockpit you're sitting in here to clean the file. You're verifying what the key pull came up with. So if we pull that one and then you click on, you know, your first active one, then it brings up this screen. So I'll expand that. And here's all the info that it pre-fills for you. So it misses some things, maybe, probably not. You want to check the GLA close, main upper, or main upper, and then lower, finished, unfinished, garages, RV parking, outbuildings, so you can add one. It could do a better job here, so that's something you got to look at. So then down here we have the stripped away facts on what that is, the listings and the photos. Then you hit the pop out. So the pop out on your third screen then just runs through the property and you can just sit here and watch. And then you go, yeah, Q4, C4. And you can look at the listing, look at all the facts over here. So that's how we roll. And then we just hit next and it goes to the next property. And the pop out screen goes to the next property as well. So in order to go to the next, it has to be, this has to be viewable. So you can see it went to the next, and now these two popped over there. And we're on, if we do that again, we're going to go to the next and the next. So that's how it rolls through this. And then in this screen, it will have, you might decide it is a comp and you want to move it back to the competing set, or it's in the competing set and you think that's a perfect comp, I want that one, click that. If you think, oh, that's got like a mountain view and a river view and twice the lot, it's not even competing. So I'm going to mark that non-competing and say why, and then that would go into where we've parsoned out how we created our competing area set, the upper and lower GLAs, the age, the lot sizes, whatever we use to get that all sales down to a competing set, that would be like, this is included in that set, but it's non-competing, and this is why. So then you can save it to the library and then click next to the next one. When we save these, if I pull this comp up again, it's going to be pre-filled. It's going to say, hey, someone's already verified all this information, and this is what they verified. You can check their information and make sure it's right, resave it, and then click it to through to the next one. So that is the basic cleanup and the ranking engine and the seller concessions. And now we'll look at the pair viewer. So here's the pairs. Pairs are the 5-year files, sale and resale of the same property. So we talked earlier about how a sale and a resale on a flip is anything but a time adjustment. But what it's good for is quality and condition, because that's all that's changed. And if nothing changed, it's a perfect time comparison. So what we want to do is feed both our quality and condition adjustment and our time module the correct pairs. So analyzing them, we've loaded the 5-year sale resales and to the listing pages and the photo pages. And with this forensic screen, it pulls up a poll, because we did a key pull on it. So it'll tell you, I've already done these, but it'll tell you the quality and condition of the first sale and the date and the amount, and the second sale and the date and the amount. So this one, the tool said they're the same quality and condition. So it's nothing but a time over 33 months, 39,000. So nothing to quality and condition, and everything to time. And you can do a little key pull here for a dime, and it'll tell you what the difference is between this one and that one. Sometimes it's wrong, sometimes it's not, but it's pretty accurate. And then down here, if you have a difference of quality and condition, which we don't, so we're all zeroed out, then it would register, and then you can pull up you can click here and it'll just go to time, or you can go, oh, that's more quality than condition, and move the slider to put more weight on condition than quality. So you have complete control. This isn't the computer doing this. This is you. Our time is 0.193 on this one instance of a sale resale, and we're going to lock and ship it to the time module. But if we wanted to check and make sure, we hit the pair viewer, and the pair viewer opens up, as you can see, and you can just sit here, you can pause it, you can speed it up, slow it down, and you can see the difference between the two sales. So if the dime key pull came up with, oh, the kitchen was beautifully renovated and all they did is paint the cabinets, you're going to see that. So that's your verification right here. And you can pause it and then get them on the same screen, compare. And if there is a difference between the quality and condition, to lock in the evidence, you can tag up to 3 photos before and 3 photos after, for the work file evidence for the quality and condition adjustment. So that's what this is. It gives you some info on it, rolls them through, and we'll close that. But when you go to the next one, this automatically goes to the next one as well. So I can hit next and it'll go to the next one. And here we are. So I roll this on one screen and the photos on the other, similar to the other process. And if I unlock this, I can then edit it. So this was a little bit of a change. And then down here, we applied a little bit, looks like about 6% for full step between quality and condition. And then it does analysis and writes it up. I lock and ship, writes it then in your voice, converts it for evidence. And in this viewer, we probably tagged some photos for evidence. So lock and ship and move on. We have 2 of 23. So when we get to the end, we're going to have all of this information in either our time module or our, so this was a recent sale, same, nothing changed. I don't know why that didn't ship. Looked like a good one. It'll all be there for developing those adjustments, both time, quality, and condition. So that's what this module is for, and you can see we're clicking through all of them, and then we're done. Close. So now we will go on to the market stats. So when we click market stats, we're going to come up with the actives, pendings, and sold of the competing set, the high, lows, and medians. We're going to see all that. It's going to come up with some basic numbers, median sale price, the change, and it'll give you a little summary of that. It'll come up with some graphs. So here we are, and where we fit on the graphs, square foot, sale price to living area, sale prices, and compare it to median, a bunch of simple regression analysis. Then we're going to go to site value. So in the site value, I've done one of these before. It pulls automatically your comps in, gives the garage, the quality, condition, strips it all out, the lot size, and it gives you proportionately what the value is. So it's going to come up with a number, and then you're going to go to land sales, and you saved all of the land sales, like right here. So I just click on that and it would load in here, and they come in here, and then they fire up there, and then you can adjust that to wherever you think the land sale price should be based on all of that information. And then, especially in rural properties, it's helpful, or with minimum land sales like that one. You can load up the assessor doc, the tax main, in here, and it's going to strip out the assessor land value. So it's going to have the site size and the assessor land value, and it'll come up with a assessed value for the supported land for the subject. And now we can go to reconcile. So you have these three numbers, all between 125 and 192, with the assessor landing right in the middle and extraction at the top. You know, I'm going to make, maybe I like that one. And then I'm going to generate. It's going to come up with a report. So this is going to generate, I'm going to generate the report. So it's got the three methods, and it has all the support for all three methods. It has the sales and the details of the sales and the adjustments and the opinion of the site value, all written in your voice, reconciled, ready to drop into your report in about 5 to 10 minutes. You create land value. So you can uh, save that, and then down here, I think, where's our, there we go, Word. So it's gonna save a Word file. You can drop that into your report. So here's what you got to enable it, and here exactly what you just saw. Read it over, make sure it's right, use it if you want. And now we're going to the cost approach, which I'm having trouble with dwelling cost. We're all set up. It should work. And it doesn't. So I don't think our tools say that it hasn't. See it fetch from the dwelling cost, and their API isn't returning. So we've got something to work out there, a handshaking issue. And as soon as that's resolved, it should just work. So we'll go to contributory value based on what we didn't create there. And then we're going to go to adjustments. So here is our adjustment module. And we can pull from the pipeline. It's got the 35 confirmed. It's going to run the 1 year and 2 year. We can pull all three. So the third one, if you click that, is the all sales in the market, which is going to give you a lot more option for pairs. So there are 723. So you can decide what data sets you want to use, or you can drop them or put whatever you want in there. Here's your subject. That thing's probably more like that. And then it'll come up with some land info. You can level the set to one of these by clicking on lock and then going up here and leveling. So I'm going to remove the lock feature noise for time and for the locked feature. And then it'll give you all the information. So these are the sets of data sets in there. You can just move that up and down, put it wherever you want and lock it. Lot size same, busy road, view, quality, condition. So we did a lot of work in here on those two. Year built, and garages. Down here you can add whatever feature you want. It'll add it in there. And then you can set your adjustment and lock it. So on the one that we did a lot of work on already is the quality and condition. So here are all of our pairs, and you can see that we put a plausibility 10 to 15%, soft and hard stop on, if something's too crazy, it's not probably something else going on with it. Not realistic, like when you run a regression on a bathroom adjustment that's $200,000 on a $400,000 house, you think, oh, regression is horrible. Well, it's that all of the other features of the house were leaking into that adjustment. It wasn't a pure adjustment. The R2 value was probably absolutely junk, and it means nothing. So it's not only is it a value, but how accurate is the value. And here is all your quality and condition information on your pairs. You can get real nerdy with this. And then I weight the pair values to the calculation values, and we're set at 50%. We can move that, and we can move this slider anywhere we want. So then we can lock it. So apply reconciled and lock it. And then it's going to tell you what the adjustment is. I do a plus minus. So a plus minus is a third step between the three steps. So plus or a minus is 14 and a full step is 42, which is 6.68%, which is probably pretty accurate. We're going to go back up here. We're going to look at the quality and the condition. And those are two adjustments that in the past we've used as nothing more than depreciated cost, So that is absolutely a step up from where we were, as is all of this. None of this is depreciated cost, like I said. And depreciated cost is not a market reaction. So we go to here where the depreciated cost, if the dwelling cost and I were able to handshake, which will happen, I just don't know when, that would populate. I also use another product and I can paste their info in here, the Word file that you get, that I often put in my report. I can put that in here and weigh it up against what we got. And here's ours, the depreciated cost. It'll eventually populate prior uses in that area and peers, and then the synapse, and we can weight whatever we want and make that adjustment and then lock it. So these are all locked. I think there's a lock all, something, there it is. And you can see they're all the ones that we've already created. But you have that control over those methods, and I don't know how that got in there. We don't even want that. Just going through too quick. You can add one here if you had to. Now we're going to take these adjustments to our market time. So our time module is going to load the 32 competing area sales. It also loads the 2-year backdrop and that 5-year backdrop file. I like to give that 100%. All sliders, all your choices, you decide, and you've done all the pairs, so these won't do 0. They have to have something. So I just give them a buck. And then it has all of the different methods in here for time. We can click that and it'll probably open and show you all the time methods. Close it. Now we got all of the features, all of our adjustments. We're going to level these data sets right there, and it's going to populate all this information about a time adjustment. Right here is where the magic happens. So here is what the computers picked for a time adjustment based on everything that we got, and it looks pretty good. You can check or uncheck any of the methods. You can add a method. This one, for instance, I have used in the past, And if I included it, it would be a purple line in here, and I can track its results with mine. I can include or not include linear regression, which happens to be, it looks like 0.0. So, but I like the pairs. I'm gonna give them 100. And then here's the threshold slider. So if you make it wider or a tighter band, it changes the results. Not much on this one, but every file is different, and you can see it starts excluding things when you get tighter. So maybe I like that. And then I don't think it's inconclusive, and I put stable. Put that. Maybe I like that for a time adjustment, and I'm going to lock it. There's my time adjustment. All done. And here we have a narrative. You can put the comps in, contract date, sale price. We don't need to. It comes up after the grid when we actually have our final comps, and it runs a report ready reconciliation. And expand that, you can see the time graph here. That also comes up in the market conditions report at the end. But now we're going to go to the income approach. And in here we have, I have a whole module on creating the income approach, and I do some things I don't know anyone else does, so bear with me and follow my rationale when I do it. But we're supposed to adjust a rental to the market condition adjustments. So a rental market is a little different than the sales market. So I thought, how do I convert my adjustments that I spent all that time creating to a income approach? And the only thing I can come up with is the GRM as a multiplier, and then a sensitivity analysis on how important each of the features are depending on the rental market, like entry level market is going to be a lot different than the luxury market. So, it's all relative to, like, compared to what. So this is our subject. Here's an overview. Here is all of the CSV file that we loaded with all of the rentals in that module 2, where we put all of our data. We also then pulled the listings and the photo pages. So I load those up here. And after I load those, then it'll key pull, and it'll do a geodistance, which it's done here. And I've selected those as comps. So I've already run that. So here's the same viewer. So if I pop open that viewer, it strips out the rental information mostly, but you also see a bunch of the other information, beds and baths and all of that. If I pop that out, I'll load those and then we'll see. But then you can look at the actual photos of those and decide whether they're comps or just to be included in the GRM or to be kicked out altogether, because we pulled a wide band of a lot of rentals just to get enough to create a plausible GRM analysis to make the most credible assignment results we can. So I'm gonna load those. We'll look. All right, I fed it, and I think it's it's loaded. I'm not even sure. Looks like it is. And then you can see in here, there's a lot of information about each property and the beds, the baths, the year, lot size, the distance from the subject, and similarity and competing set. So this was marked as a comp, and this is a bridge. So this is that it's both a comp here, and I can tag that, and it's a comp in the sales comparison approach as well. So I did that. Let's look at it. So maybe it wasn't a good one, but you get the idea. So the pop-out viewer does that, and it runs through just like every pop-out viewer. And then while that's running in a second screen, you can click next, and this is in a different screen. So if you're running 3, and you can move these from contention or out of contention, um, and or delete them. So after we've got those 25 looked at, doesn't take long at all, then we go to the GRM. So on the GRM, it ranks them, and then it'll give you you can set this to whatever you want. I have it set on average, top 3, top 5, all, median, a manual override. So that's we've determined our GRM is 202. And then we go to the rent sensitivity. So here are our adjustments, and multiplied by the GRM, and then given a rent sensitivity. So you can adjust this based on all of the factors that you know about that rental market, and make the weighted rent adjustment comparison to the income or the sales comparison adjustments. So yeah, it's not 13,000 per garage, it's 96 bucks off a month for rent. So here's your rent grid, and in here it's all loaded. You can click the form. It's a 1007 form, and it has the distance from the subject, all of the info filled in, all of the adjustments applied, all of the rent information filled out, and a summary, and your market rent. You can go to the reconciliation. You can do a voice conversion math or a flat rate, and Word, and print that, Excel, copy to a clipboard. Hopefully we'll be able to just port it into total. But here we have the adjusted rents for the 3, and you can weight them however you see fit. And then that's why we're at 2,200. We're at 90%. That would explain it. I was wondering, should be more than 2,200. And that looks better. So that looks better. Down here, we're going to generate the narrative. It uses your key pull, writes it in your voice, and it tells you each rental, what it was adjusted for and why, and what the rent analysis is here. And now we're done with the rental, and we're going to move on to the grid. So we loaded up here in the grid, and let's do a little look-see. So our subjects loaded, tells you about it, effective date, the median price, comps. I like to view all 6 of them. You can upload a PDF or the CXMLs from Total and then back into Total. You can export, or you can export your grid into a worksheet and match it up to Totals. I was looking for all kinds of solutions to get this into Total without having to hand key everything in. And hopefully they help me out and give me a hookup so that we can just import it. Change that, and then gives us our description of our property, all of our adjustments port in, our time adjustment ports in, and our concessions. So here is our grid as it stands, and we want to make sure everything's filled out. Must not have completed the subject section good enough for it. So when it's red, that means it's not bracketed. You know, that no other garage has the right information. So what we end up with is that so if you like have air conditioning and no comp has air conditioning, you want at least one comp to have air conditioning. It's going to show red to know that, dude, you don't have air conditioning on any of the comps. So you might, you know, if you were way in between one and another and one had air and one didn't, maybe you should go get the one that has air. So you go do that, put it in. You can manually add it or not, but there's other along the process, it's telling you those things anyway. So I'm gonna adjust all my comps. I'm gonna apply my time, and I'm gonna apply my concessions from that module, and it's gonna populate everything and come up with my adjusted sales numbers. It's going to give me an opportunity to load up my prior sales history so I can pick my subject. Let's see if I can find it in this messy folder. There it is. There's our tax main from our subject. And here are our comps. I think that one's under this one. And I think these are them. I'm not sure. Close enough. It'll show you. Populates that. Writes it the way I do. So no prior sales. Check that, make sure. But also in here, we got the grid. We got a viewer, just like all the others. And we have focus mode. You can move them back and forth. There's a little JPEG there. You can delete one. So I'm going to look here. Pending, I don't want there. Bounce it out. Active goes after the pending. I can come up here and go to 7 and 8. Put this one on that busy road in there. Then go to 1 through 6. So now I got 5. I could get away with kicking a few out if I had to. I got a pending and an active. So my first 5, I know I'm going to put weight on at this point anyway. We got that filled out. Here's all of the comps and their adjusted values compared to their actual sales and how they go up or down. and this section, and then this is our reconciliation. So we have not yet finalized this because we want to open this viewer, and this viewer is our focus mode. So we're in here, we're going to make sure all of this is right and that all of those adjustments are right, that our adjusted values spot on, and we have a viewer. So it's the same viewer we can use. It has the pop out third screen. It's going to run through. So now we can take a grid level approach to verifying all the features and use all three screens. And once we get done with this one, we go save and next. And here's our next one. So after we've done that, we've looked at all of the information, made all of the required adjustments, make sure they're all going in the right direction and everything is solid. Then we're going to go down here and we're going to apply weight. And I'm making things up. So what do I got left? 20. So that puts us at 100. We're at 565. We're minus 0.9 from the median. And then I'm going to refresh that. It puts that number here. So these two started there and ended there. And this was below, above, below, below, right on. So 7 and 8 don't matter. Or 6, 7, and 8. Apparently I got some extra in there. But I know the first 5 mostly adjust up. This one's real close. So I put a lot of weight on this one and that one. Not so much here and there or there. I guess I put 20 on that. Anyway, we run here. We're going to run this engine now. And that applies all of the adjustments to all of the competing area properties. Why? Because we can. It's a computer, you know. So it applies all those adjustments to every property and gives you the overall value that it came up with based on the whole competing set. And here we got enhanced, basic math, or math only. We're going to do a reconciliation statement. So I'm going to go enhanced. This does a key pull. I don't think I have a key in there. And then generate, and it runs the reconciliation. It tells you what the weight was you put on each of the comps and all of the information from each comp, the sale price, adjusted sale price, the sale date. It gives you all of the adjustments, what way they went, why they went, the quality and condition difference, and why it was adjusted. And then it comes up there. So that is the grid. And if you go basic math, generate, it's going to do basic math. If you're going to just do basic, it's going to give you just a one-liner basically. Now we're going to go to market conditions. So market conditions, missing a few things from me running through real quick, but in here I load the RMLS market action report right there. So that loads and it parses it and it pulls all the data and it writes me a market conditions report based on all of my findings throughout the appraisal. And it goes in the, here's all of our comps, how they adjusted up or down for time, how they were weighted, what their the site value was, and it puts them on this adjustment line, similar to the Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac guidance, or I guess it's just Fannie Mae. So I'm going to generate this report, and here is a summary of that report. So you can use all of this. You can change whatever you want. and then finalize it. Has all the information in here, and save it to PDF, copy the report, and now we're going to go to value compliance, which we have some red flags that we need to address. I don't know what they are, but probably something that I ran through and didn't pay attention. But this is kind of an E&O situation here. Now I'm going to go to final reconciliation. It's populated my approaches. I'm going to not utilize the income approach. I didn't develop the cost because we're not shaking hands yet. If it doesn't populate, pull from the module, pull from the grid. Auto does that. I round to 1,000. There's my value. And then I'm finished. And then I can print the final report, and it'll give me a 1004 walk down to convert everything, and it'll build that. And that's the end of the run through of the quick, not so quick, but not detailed either, of a full appraisal with the income approach.